it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Today I have a project for you that I have made for the Spot Weekly Challenge group. There's a link to the Spot group over on my website, and there's a link to that immediately below. Today our challenge is a colour challenge with a difference. So the challenge is to use petal pink, grey granite and any metallic, but we must use a metallic. So I've actually used two. I've used copper and I've used champagne. So let me show you how I have made my card. I'm going to start with the stamping for down here, purely because it's the bit that freaks me out the most. I'm using the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set. This is a double stamp set. It's in the annual catalogue, which, as you may know, will be leaving us at the beginning of June. We're waiting to hear, as at recording this, it's a couple of weeks, we will, those of us who are demonstrators, will get to hear what's staying and what's going. We will also get to see the new annual catalogue, but that is a benefit of being a demonstrator. As far as the general public is concerned, you'll get to see what's retiring, but as I say, we will get to see what's coming as new items as well. I'm going to emboss in gold embossing powder, so I've put some embossing body on. I've got my copper embossing powder ready to go. I just need to ink up my stamp with some Versamark ink, and just need to, I stuck my label on slightly crooked, which does make getting the stamp straight slightly more challenging. What I should of course be doing is using my Stamparatus, but I've got that set up for the other bit of our project. Oh, that doesn't look too bad actually. So let me dabble that. Gosh, it's almost straight. Such a thing never happened. Yeah, no, that's not too bad. Not too shabby, as they would say. So let me grab my trusty cheese board and pop that behind my paper, my card. So this is petal pink card, which you probably guessed from the fact that the challenge is petal pink and grey granite. So I'm just heating up my heat gun, and there we go. Got all of that. So that's the card base done, at least. So let's pop that to one side. I will need it again in a moment, but let's get this all nicely folded. So it's just a half sheet of cardstock, whether you're using North American letter or, as I am, International A4. It's just half a sheet that I've cut long and thin. I just like it that way so that if I'm doing photography I get to see what's on the inside, because there is a little hint, a little special bit on the inside. Right, okay, so let's pop all of that to one side and grab my Stamparatus, and stupidly I forgot to get out a piece of Whisper White card, but we have that here. So I'll just grab my trimmer and cut that down. This will be die cut, so I just need a piece that is big enough but not... Actually, I'm sorry, I'm doing myself an injustice. I have got the card out. I just didn't spot it. Here it is. So pop my card into my Stamparatus, and because it's a red rubber stamp, I'm not using the sponge plate that goes in here, the foam mat that goes in, because that takes the space of a red rubber and is great for photopolymer, stamping, but you don't need it for red rubber. So more embossing buddy and lots of... No, I've done that wrong. I've done that wrong. Ignore me. What I want is petal pink. So let's use petal pink. You may think I'm going mad. I think I'm going mad. It's true, I'm going mad. So I'll just stamp that. That's better, that's what I wanted. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Okay, so this I'm then going to colour using my blends. It's really straightforward to do. So all I'm going to be doing is laying down some light petal pink. Just get rid of the embossing buddy that doesn't need to have been there. So lay down some petal pink, and this is the light one. And then wherever there is shading, come in with your dark and just add some shading in, or anywhere where you think there's going to be a shadow, and then you can just blend that in and then go over the next petal. I find that if I want a smooth blend, it's best to do a petal at a time. Otherwise, particularly as we've got some nice fine weather at the moment, the alcohol is evaporating quite quickly from the blends, so it's safer to work at a small area first. So you keep going with that until, preferably putting the right top on the right pen, so you keep going with that until it's full, as in finished. As far as the leaves are concerned, I know, grey granite leaves, weird, huh? But actually I think it does work. So, whoops, went a bit over the edge there. So again, lay down the light and then come in with the dark. And what I quite like doing with the leaves is scribbling, so it's not a straight line. It is a faded sort of line. And then back in with the light to blend that all in. Now it does take a little while just for the alcohol to evaporate, but you will see that once it's finished it actually looks rather gorgeous. So let me, with the magic of Blue Peter, there is our finished one, except it's not finished because this is the moment when I need to ink up my stamp with the Versamark ink. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my chamois and just take off the petal pink, because I don't want petal pink in my Versamark. I don't mind getting a bit of Versamark in my petal pink, but not the other way around. So I cut my chamois in half because then it's easier to just grab one and use it on your stamparatus, or the stamp on your stamparatus. So you want this to be right back where you had it originally. And then embossing buddy, you know the drill because I've just shown you the drill. So embossing buddy, Versamark ink, and because this is a larger stamp, you want to go over really well with the ball of your hand, and then just grab that, pop it into your embossing powder, and I'll just cut that piece away so I can get the other side. So that's the embossing powder on, and as you can see, because I've kept the stamp in the same place, it has stamped where I want it. The joy of the Stamparatus. So again, grab my trusty cheese board and my heat tool, which should hopefully still be quite warm. And then the bit I love is just watching the melt. It's just, oh, the alchemy is gorgeous. So you will notice I'm not a wafter. I don't do all this. I concentrate on one area at a time. I find that gives you a better, more even melt. And it tends to, oh, I missed a bit just there. It tends not to warp your card quite so much. Although the reason that I use this is a bamboo cheese board, one of the reasons I use that is to help reduce the amount of warping because it reflects the heat back up. So I'm just going to pop my lid back on there and grab my large die. And I know I did freak someone out recently that I had my dies opposite my stamp. They're not actually, these aren't sharp, so you can, you know, I'm not cutting myself. The cut is done purely from the pressure of the roller. It's not done because of a blade. The only ones that use a blade are the original fat die cuts, or dies I should say, the ones that were foam. And they did have a blade inside them. I'm just going to run this through the die cut machine. So line that up. I don't need that plate, I need that plate. Whoops. Always helps if you don't joggle your die while you're trying to die cut. That's better. Right. Wind that through. And we have our die cut. So that is that, ready to go on our card. So let's bring our card base in again. And I've got here a piece of grey granite that I have embossed using the Tufted 3D embossing folder. I love this thing. I keep forgetting I've got it, but I love it. Now, I've cut this my normal width, so 5 5/8, sorry, 3 7/8. And then what I did was then just trim it to size. So depending on the size of your card base, would depend on how long you need it to be. But that will then go happily on there. I have already die cut my border, and I used from the Ornate Border die set the little, it's like embroidery anglais edging, and I cut the card so that it was going to be 1/4 of an inch roughly in the middle. So it was about 1.25 inches, and then I did one and then adjusted it to get it the right width, so that if I can find it, I can grab my petal pink and champagne edged ribbon, and then that will go over there, but not before sticking it onto this. So this is going to go, I'm going to have that there. This is then going to line up so that it's the right sort of distance from the stamping at the bottom. So let's just see. Okay, so I just need a small amount of glue. What I'm actually going to use is tear and tape, because if I use tear and tape, I will be sticking to both my die cut piece and potentially my base at the same time. Not quite at the same time, but jolly nearly. So let me pull that off, make sure it's well stuck down, and then I've just got the piercing tool end of my take your pick. Take that off and pop this so it's, actually, let me put my brain in, let's pop that there, and then this I want even across and up a bit, about there. So, okay, so I want this edge on that line there, so I can then pull that up again and pop it back down straight. You may want to bring in a silicone mat at this point so that you don't stick this onto your grid paper. And then that, hopefully, yep, is straight. Because what I now want to do is turn it the wrong way up, pop it in place, and then trim, because I want, ugh, I keep sticking myself to the, I want this piece to be the same width as my card base. So if I cut there, and it's going to be basically the same place the other side, so it's going to be there. And that just gives me a little bit still to trim off, I think. Nope, that's pretty much perfect, so I can just trim the little points off here because I don't really want pointy up bits. I'll continue the arc of the die. And then for this, I'm going to stick some more tear and tape. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, do what I say as well as what I do. And then I want a piece of tape that is slightly longer than the die cut. Tuck that round and then peel that off. So I can pop my ribbon, which happens to be, coincidentally, because I knew, the same width as the tear and tape. And then trim that off, tuck my ends in so that they're nice and neat. Get rid of that, and now I can grab some liquid adhesive. Now I'm going to make sure I put a reasonable amount of this on, more than I would normally because I've got an embossed piece, so not all of it is going to be raised enough to adhere to the base card. I want that so that the ribbon goes across and so that you can see the embossing. And because we've wrapped the ribbon round the end of the die cut, it gives the whole thing a tiny bit more width, which is kind of what we want. Okay, so that's that. Now, for this, I'm just going to pop that, and I'm going to have it overlapping the die cut so it brings things together a bit better. And I need my dimensionals. I'm going to need quite a few of these because this is a large die cut. So I like to have a dimensional, certainly on anything that sticks out, so that it stops it snagging. And then, that's probably too many, but I'd rather have too many than too few. And then all we need to do is the inside, which will take seconds, and pop some pearls on, and we will be done. So that's that. I've already coloured using my dark petal pink the pearls, and I've got, where's my take your pick? There it is. I've got 2 large and a medium, and I'm just going to try and pick that up. Come along. Try and pick it up so that it's actually attaching itself to the take your pick would be useful. Right, so I'm going to have one there, and a smaller one down by the this, and then this one, come along, where's my, there we are, I'll take my piercy bit. This one I'm going to tuck in at the top there. And then for my inside, I've just got another piece of Whisper White, Petal Pink ink, and I need my small Magnolia bud, and a block, so that I can tuck this just into, gosh, this has taken a while. I suppose we did do die cutting and stuff as well, didn't we? Tuck that in there. Just realised that we're almost at 22 minutes. My apologies. I just hope you think it's worthwhile. Do remember that if you've got any questions, please leave those in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, I always appreciate a thumbs up. So just a little thumbs up at the end. If you don't already subscribe, you can just click the button in the bottom right hand corner. And as I say, if you're in the UK and would like to purchase any of these items or any other Stampin' Up products, I would be thrilled to welcome you to my bank of customers. Thank you very much indeed. I do hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Do remember to take part in the Spot Challenge as well. All the information on my website, which is below.